Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers, from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Adoration, Part 2. From Sri Aurobindo. The adoration of the impersonal divine would not be strictly a yoga of devotion, according to the current interpretation. For in the current forms of yoga, it is supposed that the impersonal can only be sought for a complete unity, in which God and our own person disappear, and there is none to adore or to be adored. Only the delight of the experience of oneness and infinity remains. But in truth, the miracles of spiritual consciousness are not to be subjected to so rigid a logic. When we first come to feel the presence of the infinite, as it is the finite personality in us which is touched by it, that may well answer to the touch and call with a sort of adoration. Secondly, we may regard the infinite not so much as a spiritual status of oneness and bliss, or that only as its mold and medium of being, but rather as the presence of the ineffable Godhead to our consciousness. And then, too, love and adoration find their place. And even when our personality seems to disappear into unity with it, it may still be, and really is, the individual divine who is melting to the universal or the supreme by a union in which love and lover and loved are forgotten in a fusing experience of ecstasy, but are still there latent in the oneness and subconsciously persisting in it. All union of the self by love must necessarily be of this nature. We may even say, in a sense, that it has to have this joy of union as the ultimate crown of all the varied experiences of spiritual relation between the individual soul and God, that the one became many in the universe. Still, the more varied and most intimate experience of divine love cannot come by the pursuit of the impersonal infinite alone. For that, the Godhead we adore must become near and personal to us. It is possible for the impersonal to reveal within itself all the riches of personality when we get into its heart. The one who sought only to enter into or to embrace the infinite presence alone may discover in it things he had not dreamed of. The being of the divine has surprises for us which confound the ideas of the limiting intellect. But ordinarily, the way of devotion begins from the other end. It starts from, and it rises and widens to its issue by adoration of the divine personality. The divine is a being and not an abstract existence or a status of pure timeless infinity. The original and universal existence is He, but that existence is inseparable from consciousness and bliss of being, and an existence conscious of its own being and its own bliss, is what we may call a divine, infinite person, Purusha. The nature of bhakti is adoration, worship, self-offering to what is greater than oneself. The nature of love is a feeling or a seeking for closeness and union. Self-giving is the character of both. Both are necessary in the yoga, and each gets its full force when supported by the other. In the way of Ahaituki Bhakti, everything can be made a means. Poetry and music, for existence, become not merely poetry and music, and not merely even an expression of bhakti, but themselves a means of bringing the experience of love and bhakti. Meditation itself becomes not an effort of mental concentration, but a flow of love and adoration and worship. Nothing but the highest knowledge and adoration. No other way than an entire self-giving and surrender to this highest, who is all, will bring us to the highest. Other religion, other worship, other knowledge, other seeking has always its fruits, but these are transient and limited to the enjoyment of divine symbols and appearances. There are always open for our following, according to the balance of our mentality, an outer and inmost knowledge, an outer and an inmost seeking.